Well, it's been a bit of an up and down affair, but we have hit the end of season number 9. And with 3 matches left to go, we ensured our safety in Serie A for another year. And not only that, Canella is happy to stay. However, it has not always been smooth sailing since we last saw each other. We kicked things off with a very disappointing 3-0 loss on the road to Vasco da Gama. Juan Barrios scored within the first 30 seconds, and they never looked back. We were absolutely horrible in this match. Then things went from bad to worse as we fell 4-0 at home to Sao Paulo. Now much stiffer competition than Vasco da Gama, but again, we just could not get out of our way. Decent possession numbers for us, but other than that, not a single shot on target. Things needed to change. So for what feels like the 87th time this season, we have made a tactical switch, and we've gone to more of a 4-4-1-1, just trying anything, really throwing things up against the wall to see what will stick. We moved the wingbacks back into the fullback position, although they're still operating as wingbacks. I also have both the left and right side with more direct passing than the team norm to try to get the ball up to those wingers. Rodriguez is staying out wide as a winger to the left. That seems to have worked. On the right-hand side, a little more conservative as a wide midfielder. You'll notice, though, we are operating now with a number 10, and ignore who's in the positions. We've had some injuries. We'll touch on that as we go through the remainder of the results and we get ready to kick off our final match of the season. But utilizing that free roll, so the number 10 acts as a true pivot. Now, we haven't gotten a ton of productivity out of the striker recently. Arisvaldo Pereira was injured for a while, so we've kind of been rotating players in and out of the position. But one of the things that has worked very well, especially with that more direct passing, is if the wingbacks tend to get further forward, and they do, I'm finding that both the winger on the left and the wide midfielder on the right aren't pushing as far forward without possession of the ball. So when the wingbacks get further up the pitch, they are more apt to cross it in, and we've seen a lot of action on the back post, and it has worked very well for us. Because since we installed this new system at the beginning of November, we are currently on a 6-match unbeaten run. We started things off on the road with a 1-1 draw, so baby steps forward, but we got our revenge at home against Sport Recife with a 2-1 victory. Goals from Edson Jose, who's primarily been playing in that 10 role. Sometimes he is off on the right-hand side, depending on the personnel. Then, on the road at Cruzeiro, we pulled off a massive upset. When Navas scored his penalty 19 minutes in, I thought we may have been sunk, but then Navas benefited us later. A cross in from Rodolfo Souza Silva went off of his leg into the back of the net to tie things up, and then 8 minutes later, Lionel Turqueta put us ahead for good. At home against Fortaleza, I thought we would be a little better than this. We fell down 1-0. We battled back, but then John Kennedy snuck in behind our center backs to put Fortaleza back up ahead 2-1 with a minute left in the first half. But João Enrique, off of a corner header, back post, was able to even things up for us in the second half. Goiás at home, 2-0. Internacional. This one was a battle. I thought we were going to lose this match, and I thought we were going to lose it spectacularly. They took a 1-0 lead. Edson Jose got us equal 15 minutes in, but then a pair of goals from Carrascosa, his second of the match, and Thiago made it 3-1 until Edson Jose picked up his second of the game just before halftime in first half stoppage time. Hermes Tucci able to find the equalizer just past the hour mark. Now, it does not mean that things are going to be easy for us. We're taking on a Flamengo team sitting at the top of the table. Oh, I buried the lead. Let's go back to the league table. We are in 12th. We are guaranteed to finish in 12th, which means next season we will be back to continental competition. We are in the Copa Sudamericana. I could not be happier about that. Flamengo, meanwhile, sitting 1 point off the top of the table. Now, Sao Paulo in first place does have a game in hand on them, but if we can beat Flamengo, we're basically handing the Serie A title to Sao Paulo, although Palmeiras only 2 points back, may have something to say about that. One of the advantages we've had during this run is we have, generally speaking, been able to keep the same personnel in the lineup. Now, that's not the case for this match because we have enjoyed our fair share of little niggling injuries. So here is how we're going to line up for our final match of the season against Flamengo. João Feijão is going to be in goal. He has been pretty spectacular as of late, and he is developing very well. I believe his aerial reach at the beginning of the season was an 8. So he has gotten a lot better in goal for us. It's that driven personality, really making sure that he puts his nose to the grindstone on the training pitch. We're going to have a back four of João Enrique out on the left-hand side. That is because not only have we had an injury to Ivan Zinho, we also have an injury to Christian Velasquez. So we're going with our third choice at left back. He'll be on the back line with Carlão and Canella. Souza Silva in on the right-hand side. Our midfield two will be João and De Silva. Leonardo is stepping up into the number 10 position, again, because of injury. It's going to be Manuel Rodriguez on the left-hand side. Edson Jose, who has been operating so well out on the right, and Arisvaldo Pereira leading the line this afternoon. Now, typically at this juncture of the season, especially since we have our final position locked in and we have guaranteed ourselves a spot in the Copa Sudamericana. Oh, I got to switch my view here. I've been watching on Tactical just to see how things go, and it has been very, very interesting. But we are going to go back to our dynamic sideline, I think, for this match, so it's a little more entertaining for you guys. So I haven't done nearly as much rotating in these last few matches as I normally would to see kind of where we are for the future, because I really want this team to start building up that momentum. It's not a terribly long offseason. Ball into the middle. Pereira gets his head on it, but cannot tuck it under the crossbar. But a good opportunity in the first 2 minutes of this match. Luckily, we're ending the season here at home, but as I said earlier, it's very tough competition that we find in Flamengo. If we can hold on, if we can just be as competitive as possible in this match, I think it's going to go a long way to determining whether or not we're going to be successful when we hit continental competition in just a couple of months. Voilaz, oh, what a defensive play. Canella getting his foot in there. It will draw a corner for Flamengo, but we've had some issues, I've got to say. In fact, most of the goals that we seem to be letting up in this run and with this new setup is when players are able to leak in behind the defense. It's not something we've necessarily been able to stop, but I like having that box defense with Carlão, Canella, and in this case, João and De Silva. Typically, it's Leonardo in that left-handed position, which is that box-to-box playmaker position, and we were having Beto play to his right. Beto was okay. I'm still not 100% sold that he's going to be able to operate in our system as effectively as we'd like him to. He's currently out with injury. That's why he's not in this match. So we're not punishing him for lack of performance. He's hasn't been bad. He's just been okay. A lot of times he will find himself making some pretty poor passes. Marcelo Ryan, with an opportunity, gets it past Feijão, but he was ultimately offside. So far in the first 30 minutes, not a shot on target for Flamengo. So defensively, I think this setup has been the most sound for us, and you can see the out of possession here as we kind of have that bank of 4-2-3 and then the one up front. So I don't really love the 4-2-3-1, but I think defensively, the way we have it set up with the number 10 dropping back into a more natural midfield position, I think has really worked for us. And so far, we haven't seen a ton of highlights, but it has been a pretty good game for Ituano. When we're taking on competition that is this much superior to us, with this much more experience, and that frankly has had a much better run this season, to go through the first 45 minutes without giving up a goal and maintaining that clean sheet is pretty spectacular. João Feijão has how many clean sheets so far on this season? He's got 11 in all competitions. That's pretty awesome. João through the midfield, still with it. John, though, will knock it off of his feet. Parshin back to John. Finds Pedro. Crossed back over. Nice switch of play. John up. Tyus Magno will score. Feijão, I just bigged you up. as to how well you've been playing, and you give up the softest of soft goals. He got his hands on it. He should have made the stop. I mean, Tyus Magno is a very talented player. I'm not taking anything away from him there, but Fajal needs to be better. Looks like he may have been caught cheating to his right just a little bit on that one. We are going to yell to fire up the team. I've been finding that slightly more effective than demanding more. It's kind of the same thing, but it's got less of a negative spin to it. If you haven't tried it out in your save, I recommend it. Oh, Manuel Rodriguez, he's in, and he will chip it past Ivanov to equalize this match just past the hour mark at 1-1. João Enrique is going to pick up the assist, and this corner defense was absolutely fantastic. Enrique just popping up. We're not going to actually see it because for some reason Football Manager doesn't like to move the camera sometimes in some of these angles for the replays. Not much I can do about it. We can't control how the replays look like we could in past iterations of FM. Maybe for FM27? Dare we dream? I just hope FM27 is able to build on FM26 because they did not do a very good job with this game. Leonardo over the top. He's got Osvaldo Pereira. He's in. He scores. Does the flag stay down? It looks like it will. No shouts for offside. And Ituano takes a 2-1 lead with just under 23 minutes left to go in regulation. Now, Leonardo is finally picked up the assist there. He's ended up with a fairly decent season, 35 appearances in all competitions, 6 goals, now 6 assists. Considering he made it through the first half of the season without really doing much of anything, I will take that. Fajal looking to start it off. Canella's got it. We are going to make some changes after this highlight. De Silva will just lay it back to his defender. Oh, look, a nice little game of catch, like father-son. Oh, I also slowed down the match speed. That's why it looks weird. Over the top, Edson Jose. He's in. It's 3-0. And we are going to make it 7 in a row to end the season. This is absolutely fan-flippin-tastic. Let's, how are we on conditioning? De Silva's a little nervous, so why don't we get him out there? We're going to put in Vinicius. He is a 20-year-old that we brought up recently. We realized we might have something, a bit of a player in him. He's only made a couple of sub-appearances for us this year. No offensive contribution, but it's okay. All we need are solid guys that we can bring in if we need to, just like Zorzanon, who's going to make an appearance here late in this match as our right back in place of Sousa Silva. They are going to check this one, but the goal has been awarded. We knew it was a goal the whole time. We don't need to see that replay. We trust you. 4 shots on target apiece. Now it's 5 for us. XG pretty much even, but we have had our way with Flamengo. Tyus Magno with that goal. I really thought that could have been the death of us in this match. But we have, over the last 7 matches, played absolutely stunning, solid football where we've taken advantage of our offensive opportunities. Here's Rodriguez with a back post header. Leonardo can't get to that one. It is cleared away. Igor Jesus now will lay it out to Tyus Magno. Finds an outlet. Hurtado over the top. Igor Jesus is in. I think he was offside. I think the flag is up. Where's the line? No, the linesman kept this flag down. VAR is going to check this one though, and the goal has been disallowed. So with just about a minute left in stoppage time, we are going to hang on for that all-important 3-1 victory. 3 points that we were not expecting to get. We're going to end the season ticking up 1 spot. We passed over Vasco da Gama into 11th place. We picked up our 13th win of the season, which means we do not have more losses than wins. 51 points, which is 7 better than last year. And I, generally speaking, am a pretty happy boy. At the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with this season. Our pass completion ratio could use a little bit of work. We fell behind the league average, but shots on target of 45% is pretty darn good. We've won nearly 75% of our tackles. Scored a goal and a half a game, which is above the league average. Took about an average number of shots. Our XG led the league. Well, didn't lead the league, but was better than the league average. We did give up more goals than I would have liked. I blame Jonathan, and I blame some of our defensive deficiencies earlier in the season. I think we're going to see better numbers at the end of next year. Edson Jose was really a standout of our season. He ended up 6th in Serie A in goals scored with 16, and he massively overperformed on his XG. Arisvaldo Pereira also in that category, 17th. Paulo Alexandre in 20th, didn't get nearly as much playing time as I thought he might have, but honestly, I think it was a pretty good performance overall. Edson Jose also 5th in shots on target with 38. His shots on target percentage, however, was a little bit further down. In fact, the best player on our team was Arisvaldo Pereira at 50%, way down in 43rd. Where is Edson Jose? There he is in 93rd. Ugh. We always knew goalkeeping was going to be an issue. João Feijão, though, I think he did step up, and some of these numbers don't really underlie where he ended up from where he began. 15th in goals conceded per 50 minutes at 1.57. That's not fantastic, but that is much better than Jonathan, who doesn't even show up on this list. Now, if you look at save percentage, he was 11th. Jonathan in 35th. Expected saves, we had Feijão in 12th, Jonathan in 36th. So I think we have a very clear winner for who our goalkeeper is going to be for next year, even though if you look at him on his face, all right, the aerial reach kind of stinks. But as far as his ability and where our staff rates him, Jonathan is still rated ahead of João Feijão, but Feijão is definitely our guy for next year. And I think, just so we're not even tempted to make this mistake, I think we may move on from Jonathan in the offseason. Speaking of moving on, Pedro Mantovani, his contract is going to be up at the end of the year. He spent the last part of the season on loan at Maringá in Série C. He did help them get promoted to Série B. Maybe he can find a permanent job there, but I still don't trust him. Even though the attributes are there for the most part, all of the issues we had with him last year, I just would not trust myself to put him between our sticks ever again. Well, that about does it for another year here, my friends. Thank you so very much for joining us on this journey. Season number 9 is going to kick off in the next episode. We're going to find out who we're playing in the Copa Sudamericana. Not even sure when that competition begins. Plus, we've got the Paulista to deal with, but we're going to do that all off camera because I don't think anybody's interested in that anymore, unless we are able to make the latter stages, which up to this point, we haven't gotten past the quarterfinals. Maybe this will be our year. Thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you back for year 9 for the Ituano Youth Academy Challenge. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.